Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew Alexandrescu, and I'm going to speak about the Dodgers 2020 season and how it can be explained in terms of Ernest Bormann's fantasy theme analysis and chaining out and rhetorical vision. So I have several main points. I have I'm going to talk about culture, baseball culture, team culture, and fantasy theme analysis, and then I'm going to talk about the three different kinds of rhetorical visions and how they can play a part in fantasy themes and a group that is trying to achieve a vision and a goal. Okay, so I'll start off by talking about fantasy theme analysis, and that is the main point. That is the first main point that I'm making. So fantasy themes chain out in the group to make a unique group culture. This is similar to how fantasy dramas in a successful persuasive political campaign start in a public audience. So fantasy themes tend to start out with a small group of people that, and then they start off with a small group of people when they meet and they discuss a common problem, and then a member dramatizes a theme, and then the theme grows, and people get excited, and they get more involved while more individual tiny dramas come along the way, and they create a symbolic reality that is filled with villains and heroes. So that's how it starts in any group, in sports or in any business. And if the group and their fantasy theme, if they want to go public, and if they want to have like a bigger outreach, then they'll make these messages that they can promote to the rest of the world, to surrounding groups, to the community. They'll promote, they'll put out these messages, and that's called chaining out. When they chain out their message and their rhetorical vision and their themes, which helps others understand their overall group goals and their theme, and that helps get more people involved in the group and the fantasy theme, and then the group ultimately gets bigger when other people find out about the theme. And now I'm going to talk about the second main point, which is culture. And what is culture? Culture can have a bunch of different definitions, but in this case, when it comes to baseball and sports, culture is defined as the way that we behave as a team, the way that we behave on the team. So, the Dodgers president of baseball operations, Andrew Friedman, understands how important culture is on a baseball team. Andrew Friedman is a very smart man because he has a couple college degrees, and he had this position with Tampa Bay before coming to the Dodgers. So he has experience working in the front office, working as a baseball executive for 10, 15 years. So he said, and I quote, at the core of what we do, at the core of what we do, we are involved with trying to provide the best possible environment and culture for people to thrive in. So that's the president of baseball operations that says that culture is very important for a baseball team. And that's important because that's the man at the top. That's a person at the very top that's like talking about how it's important to have a good culture on the team that he's directing and he's trying to establish a very good atmosphere for the players and coaches. So that means that the coaches have to provide a good, comfortable environment where like hard work and accountability and rewards for exceeded expectations are given. And so baseball culture, winning culture, like so culture on baseball teams is very important, and that starts with like with the with the coaches and the presidents and the baseball executives. And and next I'm going to talk about the different rhetorical visions. There's the pragmatic rhetorical vision, the social rhetorical vision, and the righteous rhetorical vision. The pragmatic is characterized by a shared consciousness of people that seek practical and utilitarian goals. They prefer to be effective, make money, and deal with problems in realistic and commonsensical ways. They're scientific bent, data conscious, and they're hard-headed and analytical in their thinking, and they're pretty rational. So they're just determined to get to the top in uh like the most scientific data driven way. And an example of this is in politics, like after World War II, when America and Soviet Russia had like the Cold War, and the World War II scene after that was seen as a rivalry between Soviet Russia and the U.S. And the practical way to deal with these problems was with diplomacy and assurance that the power among the nations will be so balanced that it will be in no country's self-interest to start a war. And then there's the social rhetorical vision, which is individuals share a consciousness that celebrate interpersonal relationships and the development of good families and concrete level, as well as the utopian vision of the future environment. So this is basically people looking out for people in their community and in their city and like in their state, and trying to make sure that everyone is as well off as possible. Everyone has like, the best possible outcome. Like they help out people that are less fortunate. They try to do the best so people can have the best quality of life. And this is similar. This is basically what the Dodgers did by putting by ensuring that they have a good team culture. Like they put the relationships first. Like they made sure that the players had a good relationship with several other players. Like, and then they realize that if they have good relationships and if there's a good culture, that helps the winning part of the team. And there's the righteous rhetorical vision, which is the last one I'm going to talk about, which is when people take part in a consciousness that is dedicated to an overarching cause or position. An example of this is in the Cold War. And the Cold War rhetorical vision portrayed a world where brave people high of high morals and good will defended American democracy and the free world at all costs. And in conclusion, Ernest Bormann's fantasy theme analysis and his rhetorical vision, his examples of different rhetorical visions and chaining out and how culture can be described and how important it is to a business and a baseball team and any sports team. That is how the Dodgers 2020 season can be better understood. In the COVID shortened season, they were able to overcome obstacles and figure out how to keep their minds focused and their bodies in the right physical peak form in order to achieve their ultimate rhetorical goal. And that ended up being the 2020 World Series title.